The first topic that I will discuss is all about the carbohydrates. Yes, now we will talk about the carbohydrates, its classification, and what are the examples of and the structure molecule of the carbohydrates. One main types of nutrients is carbohydrates, so this is the most important source of energy for our body. Also, the carbohydrate is made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So, the term carbohydrates actually tells us what the structure of the molecule is. So, carbo means carbon, and the hydrates means the water, or it is refers to water. So let us see the chemical formula of carbohydrate. For example, the glucose. Glucose is carbohydrate and it has a formula of C6H12 and O6. Another term that can be used to describe carbohydrate is a saccharide, and in Latin word, carbohydrates means sweet taste or sugar. These carbohydrates can be simple or complex, but it is only depends on their chemical structure. The simple carbohydrates or the simple sugars, these include the sugars, and these are found naturally in food such as fruits, vegetables, milk, and any other milk products. For these foods include sugars and it added during the food processing. And as you can see in the structure of the simple sugar, it includes the carbon, the oxygen, and the hydrogen. While in the complex carbohydrates, it has a long chains of molecular structure. So as you can see, there are many structure of that combine together, and complex carbohydrates include whole grain of bread, cereals, and starchy vegetables. And so many of the complex carbon are good source of fiber. So now let's discuss the classification of carbohydrates. The classification of carbohydrates, it includes this molecular structure. So we know that the sugar means saccharide. So in the first classification, the monosaccharides, mono means one, so it has only one molecular structure. The disaccharides means di means two, or it has a two molecular structure. Oligosaccharides, oligo means few, or it has a 3 to 9 molecular structure. And last classification is a polysaccharide. Poly means many, so it is 10 or more molecular structure. So the first molecular structure that under the monosaccharide is the ribose. Ribose is a kind of a sugar that is produced by the body. Body nagpo-produce it, ribose, and it is used as a medicine. A ribose, it is a simple sugar and carbohydrate with a molecular formula of C5H10O5, which means there are 5 carbons, 10 oxygen, what I mean is 10 hydrogen and 5 oxygen. So another molecular structure that under the monosaccharides next to the ribosome is the deoxyribose. Deoxyribose is the related ribose, and actually this deoxyribose is not a saccharide. because as you can see, it is missing in oxygen. The oxygen in number 2 is missing. But we mentioned that because ribose is the sugar that defined as RNA, and the deoxyribose is the sugar that defined as DNA. The only difference between them is that the deoxyribose, deoxy means less oxygen. The deoxyribose is missing in oxygen compared to ribose. Next to deoxyribose is the glucose. Well, glucose is the most important in the sugar family. It is the most important and it is considered as a monosaccharide. So, glucose is one of the main sources of calories and it can cross blood-brain barrier that can nourish the brain. Also, here in glucose, it is considered as the most abundant organic compound on Earth. And we can find glucose in some berries like in fruits, in honey, and even in starch and cane sugar. Then another monosaccharides is the fructose. We mostly find fructose in plants and their fruits. And also, there are fructose in flowers and some other roots of the vegetables. And the last molecular structure that under the monosaccharide is the galactose. Galactose considered as the milk sugar. And another simple sugar is the disaccharide. This is the two chemically bound monosaccharides. Here in disaccharides, it includes the lactose, the sucrose, and the maltose. So, this is the structure molecule of lactose. So, lactose, it is known as milk sugar. Why? Because it's only found in nature with it links with glucose to form lactose, which is a disaccharide which is found in the milk of mammal. Example, the cow milk or the other example can be the breast milk. So next is the sucrose or a table sugar, and this is considered as another disaccharide. So sucrose is the sugar which it is formed by the combination of glucose and fructose. So it is found in various fruits and vegetables. For examples in the sugarcane and sugar beets, which is having the highest quantities of sucrose. Then the maltose. Maltose is another disaccharide commonly found, and it has two monosaccharide glucose molecules that are bound together. So maltose is commonly found in molasses, which can be used to ferment beer. Next is the complex carbohydrates. So under here, the complex carbohydrates is the oligosaccharides. Oligosaccharides can have a 3 to 9 molecular structure, and which there is a galacto-oligosaccharides, which here in oligosaccharides, there are short chain of galactose molecules that can be only found in soybeans. And another complex carbohydrates is the polysaccharides. Polysaccharides is the most abundant type of carbohydrates found in food. polysaccharides also can be broadly classified into two classes. First is the homopolysaccharide, then the second is heteropolysaccharides. The homopolysaccharides, homo means one, so these are made up of one type or same units of monosaccharides. For example of homopolysaccharide is the cellulose, starch, glycogen, and these are all made from glucose. And then the second one is the heteropolysaccharide. Hetero means many. And these heteropolysaccharide are made up of two or more types or different units of monosaccharide. Example of heteropolysaccharide is the mucopolysaccharides. And remember that all polysaccharides are formed by the same basic process, where monosaccharides are connected via glycosidic bonds. The term chiral was first coined by Lord Kelvin in 1893 during the second Robert Boyle lecture, so at the Oxford University Junior Scientific Club. So the first object that will shown is a matchsticks. So let's see if the two matchstick is identical. So as you can see, the two matchsticks is equal or they are identical. And then the another object is the lighter. Let's use the lighter. Let's see if the two lighter is identical to each other. Well, as we can see naman, diba, they are identical. So they are reflect to each other. And the next is the here. Just like a molecular is a molecule structure. So as you can see, the two molecule structure are identical. They are equal on their reflection. And then let's change one of the color. Let's turn it to blue, and then the another one also. So they are also identical to each other. They are equal. They are the same reflection. Then the next object, let's change another ball to blue, and let's see their reflection in the mirror. So as we can see, they are identical. So the object is equal to its reflection. Then let's change another ball into yellow. And so as we can see, the reflection is quite different. So parang very identical, but it's turned it around, so just like that. So it's now an identical to its reflection. Then let's change another ball into violet, and let's see its reflection in the mirror. Yeah, that's it. So as we can see, the object and its reflection is not identical, meaning dirihira magpareho. So in that situation, the object is not identical to its reflection, and that is we call the chirality. And then another object is just like a fit shape. So obviously the fit shape is not identical, so it is chiral. So now let's our hands be our example. So as we can see, our hands is chiral or not identical to its reflection. So meaning chiral object is not identical to its reflection. For example of a chiral object is our hands, the carbons with 4 different groups. And the chiral object is identical to its reflection, meaning they are the same as what we see in its reflection. So example to that is the matchsticks, a carbon that does not have 4 different groups.